from Washington, this is VOA News. NSA chief denies U.S. spies on European citizens. Polio outbreak hits Syria. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. The head of the super-secret U.S. National Security Agency says reports that it collected telephone records of millions of European citizens are completely false. Army General Keith Alexander told a congressional panel Tuesday the European spy agency shared those records with the NSA. General Alexander said the details were used to defend U.S. and European forces in the field and citizens at home. The NSA chief said European newspapers misinterpreted documents stolen from the NSA by former intelligence contractor Edward Snowden. A British man is free on bail after being charged with hacking into U.S. government military and civilian computer systems. VOA's Al Pessin reports.
The 28-year-old from a rural village in eastern England is charged with cyber crimes in the United States and Britain. He allegedly worked with hackers in Sweden and Australia to repeatedly break into the computer systems of thousands of U.S. organizations, including the Army, the Defense Department, the Environmental Protection Agency, and NASA, the space agency, over the past year. The British man, identified as Laurie Love, is charged with stealing personal information about members of the U.S. military, budget documents, contract information, and details about plans to close military facilities. There is no indication the hackers did anything with the data they allegedly took. Al Pessin, VOA News, London.
The global charity Save the Children is calling for a vaccination ceasefire in Syria to give doctors a chance to inoculate children against polio. The World Health Organization confirms 10 cases of polio detected in northeast Syria earlier this month. Lisa Schlein has details from Geneva.
The World Health Organization says 12 other suspected cases of polio are still under investigation. A spokesman for WHO's polio eradication program tells VOA there are no additional so-called hot cases at the moment. Oliver Rosenbauer says disease surveillance is ongoing in Syria and in neighboring countries to look for other cases of acute flaccid paralysis. But for now, he says, the only known cases are the 22 in Deir ez-Zor that were detected and initially reported on October 17.
Of course, this is a communicable disease, and with population movements, it can travel to other areas, and so the risk is high of spread across the region.
Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
The United Nations Nuclear Agency says it's pleased with Iran's new approach to talks over its controversial nuclear program, and that both sides plan to meet again next month in Iran. The comments came after a second day of meetings Tuesday between Iran and the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna. 4 French hostages kidnapped in Niger by an al-Qaeda-linked group have been released after more than 3 years in captivity. French President François Hollande announced the hostages released Tuesday while on a visit to Slovakia. He credited Niger's President Mahamadou Issoufou for the release. The 4 French nationals were working for a French nuclear firm when they were abducted by al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb in September 2010. The United Nations Security Council approved sending a 250-member force to the Central African Republic to protect UN workers. The landlocked nation has been in chaos since Seleka rebels toppled President Francois Bozizé in March. A U.S. official apologized for the technical problems plaguing the online component of President Obama's signature health care law and promised to see them fixed by the end of next month. VOA's Michael Bowman has more from Capitol Hill.
Appearing before a congressional panel, the head of two federal health care programs, Marilyn Tavenner, responded to the outcry.
I want to assure you that healthcare.gov can and will be fixed, and we are working around the clock to deliver the shopping experience that you deserve.
The assurance did not convince Republicans like Congressman Kevin Brady, who noted that the administration previously promised the website would be functional on its October 1st launch date.
None of that proved to be true. Now we're told everything will be okay very soon. So why should the American people believe you now?
Tavenner replied that the overall system is already functional despite technical problems. Michael Bowman, VOA News, the Capitol.
I'm Ray Kouguell, VOA News. More at voanews.com.